Half a century, a very long time, isn't it? But I bet some of our viewers will say, of a certain age, shall I say, will find it difficult to believe this week marks the 50th anniversary of Tyne Tees Television taking to the airwaves.
Gosh, shows how long we have not been here.
Yeah, no.
And as part of a week-long celebration of that broadcasting milestone, here on North East Tonight, we're taking a look at the last 5 decades of regional programmes provided by Tyne Tees. So put your feet up, because tonight Rob Williams looks back at how it all started. And keep your eyes peeled for one rather familiar face.
Tyne Tees Television, Channel 8.
Tyne Tees Television went on air in black and white on January the 15th, 1959. The equipment looks quaint now, but it was bang up to date then. Light entertainment was the speciality, and the first show broadcast that evening was The Big Show.
Today has been a lovely day, the sort of day that right from the start you feel that your heart's aglow.
But Tyne Tees wasn't all song and dance. Change was afoot. Old housing being demolished, new tower blocks being built. Exciting times as Tyne Tees showed people their world changing around them. The man in charge of Newcastle Council at the time was later to become infamous as T. Dan Smith. Even in the first years, crews were showing just what they could do with their new cars and cameras. Things like the closure of the Riverside Railway route in Newcastle under the Beeching Axe. Tyne Tees went into the driver's cab, capturing pictures of Tyneside we'd never seen before. They also caught other grim signs of what was to come, like the end of Short Brothers Shipyard. But at the same time, they created a unique historical record of a region in flux. And it wasn't all bad news. 1967, and the chain bridge across the Tyne at Scotswood was replaced by a new bridge, opened, as was proper, by a man in a bowler hat.
I now declare that this bridge is open.
Now, Tyne Tees was really getting into its stride, and then, as now, the cameras turned up for royal visitors. Here, again in 1967, it's the Queen as she comes to open Billingham Forum. And without Tyne Tees, we'd never have known that the button didn't work and some chaps had to come in and unveil the statue by hand. Without Tyne Tees, we wouldn't have a record of one very significant event in British football. Tyne Tees has always known how important football is in the North East. Here we see the Brian Clough injury that ended his days as a player.
At first sight, it didn't look too serious, and the Holiday crowd felt that Clough, who obviously hadn't broken his leg, would be back again within a few games. But this incident was to see the end of a football legend, and the man rated by the shrewdest soccer judges as England's greatest centre-forward was never to play again.
When you don't want to cross the river, there are plenty of pleasant riverside walks where you can keep your feet dry, even if your head gets in a swim.
Without Tyne Tees, we'd never have seen one of the best-known faces in television. Can you tell who it is yet? He became a bit less posh later on and gave up smoking tabs in front of the camera. Good-looking lad, though. Yes, of course, it's Mike Neville. Tyne Tees, still not 10 years old, didn't just do documentaries in the North East. Here they were off to Sweden to look at shipbuilding over there. The programme was called Big Deal in Gothenburg, and it won Tyne Tees its first ever Emmy Award.
British shipbuilders are easily needled by comparisons with Arendal. Not surprisingly, perhaps. A centuries-old tradition of master shipbuilding has not inclined us to go overboard for clever foreign techniques. The Japanese have cheaper labour and cheaper steel. The Swedes don't have strikes, don't build passenger ships. But as Britain stands and complains, her orders are being towed away in the night by Sweden or by anyone who delivers on time at the right price.
On to 1968, the first drama documentary and Tyne Tees' first in colour. The Work of Giants was about Hadrian's Wall. It featured fearsome, disciplined Romans and hapless and hairy barbarians who, inevitably, lost. An outside broadcast from Stockton's Fiesta with Norman Vaughan.
Lovely. Aren't they lovely? They really are lovely, Tanner. Let's have another look at those lovely girls, please.
It's the 1968 Miss Tyne Tees competition, a perfectly normal part of broadcasting for Tyne Tees as the 60s drew to a close. And tomorrow we'll see how Tyne Tees grew even more ambitious and successful in the 1970s.
Aren't they lovely?
I wonder what they're doing these days. Eh?
And we only got rid of those crew cars last year on the cameras. I'm joking.
We've still got them.
If you enjoyed that as much as we did, you can watch it again on our website. Just go to the homepage or news page. It's worth it for that beauty pageant. Our address, as always, is itvlocal.com/Tyne Tees.
Well, there have been a fair few North East derby matches in the past 50 years, and many of them, Simon, have ended in draws.
And do you know why, Kenny? Because it's the ideal derby result when you think about it. Local pride intact, no one loses, everyone goes home reasonably happy at the end of the day.